We're back live. We're the Young Jurks. And I'm going to do what Julie Kramer said. I'm going to write it down. Disrupt Boston from Down the Road Beer Company. I got schooled today. I don't know if you noticed. It was pretty funny. That was a pretty funny segment. And I screwed up probably I don't know. We lost count probably about 10 times. But it's okay. Because now, we got an easier segment now. I'm back in my comfort zone. I'm back in politics. I'm with someone who I've known for a while, Tito Jackson.
My man, Mike Crawford and the Young Jurks. I am happy to be here. Happy New Year. And when people said, am I good? And this year, not only am I good, I am Hollywood.
You are Hollywood now. I think I'm starting to feel Hollywood, too, with these cameras in my face. And I'm feeling good, too.
You're Hollywood. You're dropping, bruh. I don't know when you sleep because I don't have enough time to read the stuff that you're actually writing, and I don't know how you have the time to actually write all of the stories. You're on it, man.
I think that may be the problem. I haven't slept in a couple of days. I mean, that's why I screwed up so much. I was up to I went to a concert last night, a big event for Chris Doherty, a fundraiser for the guy from Gangrene.
Okay.
It was amazing. I must say that.
That's what's up, man.
They raised, I think, $30,000 for him. He had a stroke at the Paradise.
Oh, wow, man. That's so awesome.
So I'm a little tired, too. Yeah, you mentioned sleep.
Yeah.
If I fall asleep here, wake me up, Tito.
I'll definitely wake you up. There's a lot of beer around here, so I think we'll get a double IPA and splash it on you if something happens, man.
And you're feeling bad for me because you're not giving me a hard time about not having the root beer here.
Listen, I don't ask for a lot of things. My peeps at the Young Jurks, brother, I had no idea about this root beer situation from Market Basket. It's the first time ever I was introduced to it, and I guess I would call it Gateway Root Beer.
Gateway Root Beer. Oh, my God. What are we doing here? Okay, Gateway Root Beer.
It was the Gateway Root Beer. But we're absolutely all good, man. I'm happy and I'm honored to be here. The Young Jurks is absolutely legendary, and I'm also happy to be here on an anniversary for me.
What is the anniversary?
Last year, on January 12th, I announced that I was running for mayor of the city of Boston.
Wow!
And I was walking around with there's a rapper called Freeway. He was in Roxbury.
Is there no? I'm thinking
Freeway.
Ricky Ross.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, and it wasn't Rick
Ross.
It was Freeway, but not Rick Ross.
All right.
But he's from Philly, really conscious brother, and I'm really, really happy that he helped out. I'm happy that Chris was there, and I'm happy that over
Chris Furrow.
Kristen
Johnson,
Chris
who just left.
Yes,
Thank you.
That she was there, and well over 400 folks from the community were there to really talk about the type of Boston that we should have. And so I'm really happy also how important this show was to my campaign. In addition, how important this show was to changing opinions, political opinions in the city of Boston. And you lead. And
I think you lead. Every time we have this argument, because I feel like
you lead
without
and others follow.
Without you, we wouldn't have probably be here even doing a show right now. I think you should know that much, because
I'm in the presence of greatness. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I am too.
Okay.
I'm going to say that. Tito Jackson, you mentioned bringing change. This last election cycle, it seemed like a lot of the issues that you ran on for mayor. This election, they won. Ayanna won. Yeah. Nico won. Rachel Rollins, who you supported, won.
Yeah. John Santiago
won.
So I kind of look at ours as like the extended release medication, right?
You started this.
So we started some stuff in the beginning, having really important and tough conversations about housing, and what do we define as the city of Boston or this region doing well, right? To me, the definition of that can't be just the people in the seaport doing well, but the definition has to be that average folks, by the way, 50% of people in Boston make $35,000 or less, that those folks continue to do a little bit better. Issues around how much they have to spend on a monthly basis to be in an apartment, not a house. Not a mortgage that I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
how do you afford to live in Boston on less than 35 G's?
There's a lot of people who are living in non-traditional situations. Some folks are couch surfing. These are subsidized housing programs, and so we have an opportunity to increase. And some of these things are now actually happening. Folks are talking about moving from 15% affordable housing to 20% affordable.
Who started that conversation?
I don't know.
I think you did. I heard you talking about that first. I know other people, but
there's some other. And
you've been talking about it.
I've been talking about it. I absolutely have been talking about it. Criminal justice reform. And the amazing campaign that was run by Rachel Rollins to actually stand up and say, listen, I'm not going to treat shoplifting the same way that I treat a murder charge. And in particular, there's over 1,000 murder cases that have not been solved in the city of Boston. So we're going to put resources to take murderers off the street. And we're not going to say that people are not going to be held responsible, but we don't have to do it through the court system and clog up the court system. So I was happy to work on Rachel Rollins' campaign, and she is going to absolutely be a lightning rod for that type of change that we need. She has a strong backbone. She's no joke, and I'm really looking forward to that. We are seeing body cameras being rolled out in the city of Boston. I'm very proud to see that happening. But then in addition, I think it's really, really important that we can still continue to deal with some of the other issues around disparities in education. We have schools that are still being shut down. And we have to continue to fund vocational technical education, which you know a lot about. Because I have a Prius, and people tease me about my Prius. A lot of people tease me about my Prius.
Who does?
Haters are going to hate, and Priuses are going to ball. No, but I shout out to Calvin Feliciano.
Oh, yeah, Calvin.
The hashtag troll for life.
Also trolls Jay Simpson.
Yeah, exactly. Troll Jay Simpson. Troll Jay Simpson. So I told him, listen, if I did something wrong, I'd be in Virginia on one tank of gas, right? He drives this big truck. He wouldn't get out the state.
That's
I'm
right.
gonna just keep going and going.
Maybe you can pick him up.
But the reason
you can pick him up.
I pick him up, right? I pick him up. And don't make me have to hit the power button on my Prius. I don't know if it actually even works. They just have a button there.
Yeah.
I don't think it really does anything. But the reason why I brought it up is that when I take my car in, it's usually $700-800 because it is a hybrid. And we need people to be able to work on those vehicles. Those jobs will not be shipped offshore. And so it's critical that we put more money into technical vocational education, vocational technical education in the city of Boston, and education as a whole to close the disparities that are there. And I've continued to fight for that. I am proud to see Ayanna Presley get sworn in. And she did
That was today, right?
Yeah,
or she had a party today.
She did a party, and her technical swearing in was last week. But this is the real swearing in, right? Because the Washington stuff.
Yeah, it was at home.
Have fun with the Washington stuff, right? Have fun with that. This is the real deal. These are your people. These are the folks who sent her here, and these are the folks who believed in her when they told her the same thing that they told me. There's no way. It's not possible.
You can't challenge an incumbent.
You can't do any of those things. And what I would say is, and I've been able to now, a year on, be able to redefine the definition of success. Success is actually about outcomes. So it may not be about me as an individual being in that role in this term, but when I see individuals knock off incumbents and bring their voice forward. And by the way, I want to see you run. And I'm talking to the folks who are online. We need to. If you don't hear or see the things that you believe in, then that means you need to look in the mirror, step forward, and actually bring your truth forward. And whether you quote unquote win or not, your truth will win.
That's right.
And so those things are out there. So you have Ayanna, Nika. Nika knocked off the second most powerful position in the State House, which is the chair of Ways and Means. So for folks who don't know what Ways and Means mean, let's talk about means.
The money.
And I don't know, we have all about the Benjamins queued up, but it's all about the dough. Yeah. That the individual who's in that in that chair she actually took that job, right? And she was able to work, organize, and actually elevate the level of conversation. John Santiago was also able to do that. Liz Miranda was able to do that. So it's been a really good year, and I'm encouraged about my last job and all the stuff that was happening there. But I am very, very excited about the work that I'm doing now.
And that's what we're going to talk about. But before we do that, I got to say, do you see the shirt I'm wearing?
Oh!
Can we see the shirt?
Oh! Okay.
I Cannabis Tito, or I Love Tito, whichever way you want to.
You know, cannabis is love.
This was from the campaign.
Cannabis is love. So
Yeah.
that's a love. So I want to give huge props to my friend Tashonda, Vincent Lee.
We love Tishana.
We love her. And so I really wanted to do this. And on the campaign, people were like,
No.
yeah. So Tashonda was my campaign manager, and she made it happen. So I said, I want those T-shirts. And there is a select few group of folks who have those shirts. I might have to do a reprinting. I'd love to hear from the folks in the Young Jerk channel to find out if people would want T-shirts like that. Y'all let me know. I can hook you up. You want one? You want
They
one?
want 'em,
Okay,
they
cool.
want 'em.
Okay.
Let me just get up so they can see you, right?
Well, don't.
You see it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got that
Yeah.
okay? All right.
So and how did and amazingly, the T-shirt was prophetic.
Yes, it was. Because now this is where we're transitioning to. Thank you, Tito.
You see what I did?
You're as good as Julie Kramer.
You
I love this.
see what I did there, right?
You are
see what I did
genius.
there, right?
Yeah. Because what we have you here to talk about today is this what you've been doing since, but specifically, I saw a press release about Tilt, and I know that you're involved in this, and you're already giving money to people of color in Massachusetts to get applications in, to get licensed, to get into the cannabis space. And this is a big deal because the big problem with the disproportionately harmed, and they're supposed to get some help, but there's no money there. And you set up this program, Tilt. I want to hear more about it. Tell us about what you're doing.
Yeah. So Tilt is a vertically integrated public cannabis company that now spans over 20 states and several countries, including Canada, U.S., and a couple of others. And so I have a relationship with Tilt from a funding perspective. And so when I took over a company called Verdant Medical. Verdant Medical is a vertically integrated license, one of the medical licenses that existed in that first round that we are going to be opening. Well, we have a host community agreement in Provincetown. We have a host community agreement, and that's a retail location. Location also in Rowley, Mass, which you know well.
I know Raleigh. I went to Triton Regional, and all my boys live in Raleigh.
Rowley.
Raleigh.
Shout out to Rowley.
Agawam Diner.
Agawam Diner. Shout out.
Great place.
Okay. So we're doing our grow facility there. We're doing a Tier 6 grow, as well as on site. We're co-locating another retail dispensary. In addition, we on January 17th at the Mildred Avenue School at 5 Mildred Ave in Mattapan, we'll be proposing a third Verdant Medical site in Mattapan, right in Mattapan Square at 1589 Blue Hill Avenue. And we really want to ensure that we help people in the Mattapan area have access. We are going to be hiring about 30 people. 50% of them will be residents. 20% of them will be people who have a quarry. And we are going to be announcing several community benefits, including a Verdant Venture Fund that will be helping others to actually open the doors of economic opportunity to get into the cannabis industry. But why does this matter? So the folks who funded me, the conversation I had with them was a conversation around how do we partner together in order to build a program that will not only fund Verdant, but that will fund several other companies and provide the capital, because understand, and I know your listeners know, but we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars to get into this industry.
Yeah.
And there's a cannabis tax. When you call a place and you say, hey, I want to open a store, and they're like, cool. Then you call and you say you want to open a cannabis store. They're like, oh, that's a different list. Costs more, totally different. So I have been able to work with Tilt to put together a program that we announced last week. It's called the Cannabis Inclusion Program. It is the first of its kind in the United States of America, and it is a program to fund those who have been disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. In addition, those who don't have the financial resources to get through the door to be able to open a spot. And so for those who, and hopefully folks can toss this online, if you are interested in the program, I'd like you to go to a website. It's called Tilt Holdings. So that's TiltHoldings.com. And if you go to the menu section, you will see the third down is the inclusion program. Interesting, and I want to give props to Tilt. Tilt is a public company. It's a publicly traded company that is out front. We have millions of companies all around the world. Many of them started before 2016 when 2017 when it was founded, but they aren't including inclusion in the beginning.
Right.
And so props to Tilt. Last week we were able to announce two other folks who actually are going to be opening, and I'd love for them to get
Massachusetts too, right?
in Massachusetts. So
one of them said it was a wrestler. He was a college wrestler.
Yeah, he not only was a college wrestler.
I was a college wrestler.
You a
I
college
love this.
wrestler?
Yeah.
So my friend Sayun, who is the CEO of a company called Elevate, well, not only was he a college wrestler, he also did MMA.
Wow.
So I'm not messing with him.
No, I ain't either. And he's young. Like me, I'm an old wrestler. I could probably take most people, but a young wrestler, no, I'm done. Especially, I think he wrestled a little more than I did in college.
I'm not messing.
He went major.
I'm not messing with either one of y'all. But when it comes to this, Sayun and Adeji is opening in Athol, Massachusetts. And this is the most amazing thing. Sayun is 25 years old, and so he is one of the. He will be one of the youngest. He'll be the youngest to open. He is already in line. He has a host community agreement and is on deck at the state to open up. And we also are working with some amazing folks at another company called Herbology Group, and these are 3 women who are veterans, and that's the other component. And shout out to my man Steve Mandilli. That dude is an amazing.
Is Steven part of that?
Actually, you know what? Steven, I think, is doing a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, he's doing a bunch of stuff.
Listen,
It's hard to keep up with Steven.
The brother's here, the brother's there, but he continues to do the work on the business front.
Right.
But also on that kind
for the patients.
For the patients.
He got a big discount program going for the veterans.
Yeah.
Steven did.
And for veterans, right?
That's
and
right.
so that's a critical component, and he's impressed upon us. We will be extending the veterans discount in my company also. So I'm really, really excited. And so again, TiltHoldings.com. We want to make sure that if you're an economic empowerment candidate, the state of Massachusetts has a program for economic empowerment candidates, people who live in areas that were disproportionately affected by the war on drugs. They're going to hire people who live in those areas. They're going to hire people who are companies that they could partner with. We want you. We want your ideas, we want your innovation, and we want your vision, and we're going to match that with financial resources, but it's not dumb money. It is also going to be the know-how to kind of, and that's the other piece too.
And the connections.
This is all hard.
Right.
Insurance.
That's right.
Banking. Payroll.
Yep.
You can't call
Sure.
regular payroll companies and be like, hey, can I just jump online? No, it says you can start payroll in 15 minutes. Yeah, that does not happen
For
in
cannabis.
the cannabis.
Not for cannabis.
No, not in the cannabis industry. So all of these things are things that we are going to help with, and I want to look back and say, wow, Massachusetts has 30, 35 people of color who own and operate their own businesses in the state of Massachusetts. Unlike Colorado, where there's 750 and there's one black person who's from Boston.
Is that Wanda? No, Wanda
yeah, I'm
James.
sorry. One and her lucky husband,
Okay.
right? So her husband's from
Boston.
Boston, right? And Wanda's amazing.
Yeah, Wanda
right?
is amazing. I've never met her, but I watch her from afar, and she's pretty amazing.
She's
yeah.
a Native Roots, and those guys, they're the bomb.com. But we need to make sure that we define success as inclusion. If this ends up with the same people who got all the medical licenses,
The guys from Goldman Sachs and
right?
the pharmaceutical companies and the
right?
yeah, it's got to be different.
Yeah, and so toss questions out. If you have questions,
We have some comments already.
Okay.
A lot of people want that T-shirt. Calvin's on there saying he wants it.
oh yeah.
Someone said pre. That was a comment on your Prius. and then Michael Driscoll said, I'm down.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Mike knows my address.
Okay, yes.
Yes, he wants it. So a lot of
Okay.
people want this T-shirt.
We're going to do another pressing of the iCannabis Tito.
That's right.
But yeah, so again, we want to make sure that we continue to open the doors of economic opportunity. It's great to have programs, but if programs don't work without resources.
That's right.
And
without money.
Without money. Yeah.
That's a big resource that people need.
Yeah, let's be
I only ask you
specific.
about
Yeah?
this. How much money are you going to dedicate to this? Because it seems like there is a huge need.
Yeah.
How much money can you give to this?
So what I would say to you is it's to the what we're estimating that each dispensary will probably cost about $1 million to open.
Which is what we've been hearing. We've had some panels in here of applicants, and that's exactly what they said. They have to go find a partner that will give them $1 million.
Yeah, that's it. And so, what we're trying to do is, with the program, meet all of those financial needs. But again, there's a multiplier effect here, because if you're smart, you can actually do more with a little bit less. But we do acknowledge that it's probably in the ballpark in the state of Massachusetts of about $1 million per location, and we want to do multiple of these in the state of Massachusetts, and very, very proud to have been part of and built this partnership and actually built this program from the ground up. And that's what it's all about. We gotta, and also, and the great part about the cannabis industry, and I love you guys for it because you were out ahead of it. But one of the things that's very different about the cannabis industry versus government is in government, people tell you what you can't do. They tell you about, no, can't do, no, we're not allowed.
The attorney on the city council.
Yeah,
what do you call that guy? The general counsel.
The general counsel. We have the city council's attorney, and we're all sitting there like, no, you're not allowed to. One day, they had 200 young people came in the city hall. We had rescheduled a hearing, and they didn't know. So there's 200 young people who were there, and so they came. Actually, they came to the chair's office first. He didn't know what was going on, so they came to my office. I said, Tito, there's 200 young people out there. So I said, well, I'll do a hearing. And like, no, you have to notice it. You can't do this. Or whatever. I said, I'm gonna let you know something. Whoever wants to come at me. There's 200 young people who want to have their voice heard. So I'm going to turn the lights on. We're going to turn the tape on, and we're going to listen to them. And if someone has a problem with it, then they can come see me. But again, that was all about rules and staying inside the lines. I still can't draw inside the lines. I'm actually really bad at drawing, and also still can't draw inside the lines. Now, though, the great part about cannabis is it's all about disruption.
That's right.
Doing something different, meeting people's needs, doing the right thing, looking out for those folks who actually, indigent patients, veterans, those who are elders. So that's the thing that excites me the most, that people actually have hope and dreams and aspirations, and we can do the right thing, because black people went to jail for this. Latinos went to jail for this. And so we now have an opportunity to shift and go back and make sure that we include people in this space. And I will say it will be a failure if we 5 years from now are sitting here and Seyoun and I are the only ones who are open. That will be a failure. And I'm working my butt off every single day as an extension of the work that I was doing on the city council to make sure that we have economic opportunity and people can live out their dreams. And I look at it, these are transferable skills. Because the people who are best at selling marijuana, not me. I'm going to get really good at it. But there were people who have a resume that's much longer than mine in this space. I want to have a connection with folks in that space. And I seek you out because you know a great deal about the industry, and we want to continue to build partnerships in that space.
Awesome. Our phone number, 502-501-3477. We're on Disrupt Boston, also on the Young Jurks Facebook page. If you want to leave a comment, you can do so, but you can also call in, 502-501-3477. My name is Mike Crawford. We're speaking to Tito Jackson on the Tilt program, on the company Tilt. It's a publicly traded company.
It's a publicly traded company. If you go on to the Canadian Stock Exchange, you can buy your little nugget of.
I might look this one up. I trade a lot of stocks. Now I'm going to look up Tilt.
Yeah, so Tilt, it's on the Canadian Stock Exchange, and you can. The ticker is TILT, and I think it was trading. I can't remember the number recently, but it has.
I'm bringing up my Robinhood.
It has gone up a lot.
I'm going to add it right now. I want to make sure that it's even.
So you know what? I
available
think in the States, I believe it is called something else. On the state side, I believe it's.
I'm not finding it. Sometimes they don't. It's funny on some of it's depending on the broker dealer. Sometimes they don't carry the Canadian one. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. It's really up to the broker dealer.
Okay.
But I'm not seeing it on mine right now. But
maybe if you look it up, it's called on the OTC markets.
Yep.
It's called Santa Verde. It's SVVTF.
All right.
And we're trading at $2.81 right now. So you have an opportunity to actually get in. It had gone down to 150, so we're nearly doubled for the folks who got it at 150. We have seen acquisitions of many large companies. A week ago, Tilt acquired a company called Jupiter, which is a PAX-like vape company. And I'm going to say that's probably better, but
you have a bias.
Well, I bought some stock last week. Yeah, so that's exactly. So it's definitely better. No, so but the company also has there's a technology called Baker, which is a customer loyalty technology. In addition, there's another company called Brightside, which is a prefabricated grow facility company. So instead of someone actually building a building to grow, you actually have an opportunity to have these prefabricated grow facilities trucked to you, and you're able to get it up and running in a third of the time, which is really, really great. There's a Canadian company that's a grow as well as processing and manufacturing company called Santa Verde. In addition, in Taunton, Massachusetts, there is a company called Sea Hunter Therapeutics, which was the original company related to Tilt. They are building 100,000 square feet in their grow facility, manufacturing, and are doing amazing product lines down there. And they're connected with a company called Commonwealth Alternative Care. So they are opening in Taunton. They are open in Taunton. They're opening in Cambridge, and also they're opening in Brockton. And so those
Dan
are.
Dan Delaney part of that?
What's that?
Dan Delaney?
I know Dan.
Yeah.
I don't think Dan's part of this one, but Dan is.
Because I thought he was at first one time. I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, Dan is.
Sir Troll a lot.
Sir Troll a lot. Sir Troll a lot.
Just walked in the bill. Oh no.
What's it?
Yeah, the other one.
Troll J
Simpson.
Troll J Simpson.
Screwed it up. Actually, he's both. Sir Troll Lot and Troll J Simpson.
AKA, I like to call the brother hashtag Prius hater. So that's he.
He's a gas guzzler.
So the bad thing is we're on radio and live feed, and we actually haven't said who it is. So
yeah, we're talking about Calvin, who just walked in the building.
Calvin Feliciano. So we're like being horrible to the people who are watching.
Right.
Like,
this can't be any worse than I was with Julie Kramer earlier. You don't even know.
So again, Tilt Holdings, and I want folk to be able to economically benefit. So the elevation and the high that we're talking about is not only one that is in terms of the consumption of the product that we're talking about, but we want people to be able to do better. So I also need your viewers' help and support. I'm asking you to come out and support me. I am opening a location right in the city of Boston in Mattapan. I'm proposing a location at 1589 Blue Hill Avenue, and my community meeting for Verdant Medical is next Thursday, November 17th at 6 p.m. at the Mildred Avenue Community Center and School. It's at 5 Mildred Avenue. So I need your viewers to come forward and let folks know, one, that we're doing something that's good for people, that's good for patients, that is good for the community. Interestingly, there is a CVS a couple of doors down from me. And, folks have, some people are not okay with me opening up. But I think it's ironic that Percocet, Vicodin, OxyContin, Valium, all these other things are being sold a couple of doors down from us at a place called CVS. And in fact, the front end of the opioid crisis was Walgreens and CVS.
That's right.
And so knowing that this is legal and we have an opportunity to participate in this industry, I need the Young Jurks massive coalition to come stand with me. Thursday night, 6 p.m. Mattapan at the Mildred Ave School. And come have your voice heard, because people do need to have their voice heard, and people do need an education about how important it is that people have access. And in addition, that we can deal with the issues around violence, that if we do nothing will continue to escalate. We can also deal with the issues around the quality of product, because some of the stuff that people are consuming on the street is absolutely unacceptable. I'm not going to say all. But when it comes down to it, we obviously are tested just like anyone else, and we'll have to go through a rigorous testing to make sure that we are up to snuff when it comes down to it. So again, next Thursday night, 6 p.m., 5 Mildred Ave, and we want to have the voice of the Young Jurks heard. Remember, let's just go back. This was not a law, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just and I know we're all patting ourselves on the back right now, as and elected officials and folks are patting themselves on the back. This was not a law. This was a referendum. The only way that this passed in the state of Massachusetts was by the people and for the people, and it was in spite of elected officials. And you are the ones who made it happen, and I would ask for your support in making it happen again. And also shout out to my buddy Alex Morse out in Western Mass, because he, as a mayor, has actually stepped up big time around these issues.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. We're the Young Jurks. We're speaking to Tito Jackson, former Boston City Councilor, CEO of Verdant Medical. We're talking about the cannabis space. So, again, this Thursday at 6 p.m., you have a hearing in Mattapan. We need people to come out. I'm going to try to be there. I hope you come out. I think Rhodes is going to try to be there as well. He mentioned that.
That's what's up.
Yeah, we have some other comments. Kim Napoli writes, would have been great to have this as an option here in Dudley Square.
Amen. I think the same. Obviously, one of the issues, and I've spoken to Kim about this also, and John also. Dudley Square has multiple schools, and there's a school in the middle of Dudley Square, and the 500-foot buffer is something that actually voids a lot of what's actually happening in the Dudley Square area, which is frustrating. And so I think there's a lot of work that we need to continue to do to provide those opportunities, but also to be able to work with landowners, because that's one of the things, and Kim knows about this too. Going to speak to people, there are landowners who own thousands of units who say no, categorically no,
Never.
and many of them own them straight out. So for your listeners and viewers, if someone has a mortgage, that's understandable, because if you have a mortgage in the big thick of things that you sign, what you find out is that you can't break the federal law. That's one of the things that it says in there.
But if you own it,
you can do whatever you want. And I've spoken to owners who are categorically, absolutely no,
won't do it.
and that's a frustrating piece. And so that buffer, what I also would like to see, though, and I want to give props to Somerville, we have some towns and cities who are doing the right thing around equity, and huge props to the now city council in Somerville, because they used to be called aldermen, which is just that. Okay, so shout out to the city council, and it's pretty cool to be a city councilor. I know a little bit about that, and so shout out to my friends in Somerville who are on their city council who are leading in this space. And let's understand what they did there. So the state has an equity program, but cities and towns can have an equity program. And so what they did is they said, we're doing a moratorium on any new rec facilities opening other than economic empowerment or economic empowerment eligible, local Somerville residents, or people who are already operating with a medical license. So that means everybody else stand down for the first 2 years. We're going to do right by people. We're going to do good and do well in the front end. And then, by the way, everybody's still going to be lined up to want to build in Somerville. So people can't say, oh, my goodness, no one's going to want. Okay, cool. Get out the way.
Yeah, especially in Somerville, right?
Exactly.
Like Cambridge, Boston. I mean, these are the places people want to be. We're out of time, really, but I want to go to the speed round.
Yes.
Quick questions for Tito.
Okay.
First one, there's a buffer zone that was added in Boston, like a half mile, or whatever it is. What is the buffer zone now?
The buffer zone is a half mile. It was we voted on it for medical, and then they basically extended that vote for
legal
for the adult use.
Do you think it should be lifted?
I think it should be lower, right? So I think we'll probably have to move to a half a mile. The reason why Boston has 126 school buildings, that's only on the public school side. That's not including charters, that's not including parochial schools. So the difficulty in Boston is
where do you build? Where do you build?
So literally in Mattapan Square, if I bought the building that's next to me, I would be in the I actually would be buffered out. So literally, if I had bought, and the building next to me is like it's like this big, right? So if I bought this little building that's next to me now, I would have been in the buffer. And mind you, we're in an area where schools actually going to close, so that's a little bit different. But when it comes down to it, Boston is such a small city.
That's right, geographically.
Physically, it's almost you won't be able to get the 50 that we're required to have in that space. So we have to we'll have to do that. We have to shrink that. And mind you, I want to give props. I was at a hearing. I heard John Barrow step forward and speak for Mayor Walsh on this issue. I believe that they are absolutely moving in the right direction. What I heard from them is they want to do one for one.
That's right. They want to do what Somerville did.
Yes.
Which is good.
And props to Mayor Walsh, props to John Barrows, and I want to work with you as this actually happens. We should be doing the right thing, and we can lead in the city of Boston on this. And that would be, listen, when that press conference happens, I'll be there.
Back them?
I'll be there backing them on that one.
Also, Cannabis Control Commission, have they reached out to you about this tilt, or have you heard from them?
Well, I have spoken. I've spoken to Shakia about the program, and we are in the process of getting her all of the information needed. And I've spoken to all of the commissioners about it. And I would say, and I want to give props to them, all of the commissioners get that we need to do equity. Right? We not only talk about it, all of them have actually absolutely emphatically been about that. And so, of course, again, when you're on a board such as that you can't have any preferences for the folks or the programs that are out there. But they have been supportive of the concept of making sure that we do right around this issue of equity and this issue of capital. Right? Because again, a lot of folks want to tell you, hey, we're going to show you how to do stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you technical assistance. Well, technically, you need to write a check.
Yeah. You
right?
need some money.
And that's
technically you need $1 million.
Technically, I need $1 million, and I love your support and advice, but
if I don't have the money, what good is it?
Exactly.
So thank God you're doing this. It's Tilt Holdings.
So one more time, go on the website tiltholdings.com. The third tab down on the I'm acting like I don't know how to use a computer right now.
Drop down, whatever you call it.
The third thing on the drop down says inclusion program. Get online, and we will get back to you and give you the specifics of the program. Very, very proud to stand with Tilt Holdings on the cannabis inclusion program, and we are leading in the United States of America and not following, because that's what we do here on Young Jurks.
That's right. That's what you're doing. I want to thank you again, Tito Jackson, for everything you do. I want to ask one last question,
yes.
and I want to talk about a couple more things, because we do got to get out of here. We got Activist Hour coming up at 8 p.m.
Okay.
But we had Ricardo Arroyo on last week. I love his family. I've known E-Rock for a long time. The city councilor that he was challenging, the incumbent, just announced he's not running again. What do you think about Ricardo Arroyo?
I think Ricardo's a very smart young man. I think that it was also courageous to step out when he stepped out. I think it's going to be a very interesting race. I am very, very proud to have been the city councilor whose map was adopted when we did our redistricting. I worked to make that district more diverse and to make sure that there were additional people of color placed into that district. So it's a majority single race black district. So it's a majority, and I can't, it's a majority people of color district, because they have this silly thing when people say majority minority, because that makes no damn sense.
Yeah.
So I can't say that. But so I would love to see representation that is progressive, thoughtful, youthful, and about that district. And I'm very, very excited for Ricardo, as well as all of the other folks who have announced. I was there's a young man named Jean-Claude Sanan who has announced, and I think there's a couple of other people who've actually announced. Competition and democracy is good.
It's great. Oh, yeah.
It is an important thing, and we got to make sure that we have more contested races versus less.
Definitely. I love candidates. Anyone who runs. We need more people to run. You mentioned some of the stories I've been writing. We're in Dig Boston again this week. Check it out. Check out Dig Boston.
Shout out to Maria.
Maria, that's right.
Doloroco.
Yes. You can look up that story on the Substack. Substack.midnightmass is my newsletter.
Okay.
Make sure you subscribe to that. We got a big story coming out on that. Midnight Mass, the Substack. You can definitely get it there first. It's going to be about driving under the influence with cannabis, these new cannabis laws that they're trying to trot out. We also have something on there we just announced today that we're going to have a Michael Malta Activism Award. We're going to give it away on April 27th at Down the Road Beer Company for part of our 5th year anniversary on April 27th.
What?
Tickets are on sale.
I'm going to be in the house.
Tito Jackson's going to be there. You're going to be giving away one of the awards.
I might have to be on the ones and twos.
Yes.
I don't know how to DJ yet, but by April I should be good.
We'll have you spin some records.
Okay, cool.
You hear that? Tito Jackson's going to spin records. It's going to be amazing.
I'm DJ Prius.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Pre-pre.
Yeah, that's how we go. DJ Pre in the house.
DJ Pre. So definitely check that out. April 27th. Get tickets. We're selling tickets right now. Make sure you get in. We're going to have a lot more announcements on that as well. So we're excited. I'm excited for Tito too, really. You're doing great work.
Oh, man. Let's make it happen.
And you know the thing I always ask, I'm cutting you off again. You know what's my last question going to be? I always ask you. You already know.
Look at the time.
Yeah, like you know. Are you running for mayor again?
Look at the time.
Are you running for mayor again?
I'm running for dinner.
Okay.
But listen, what I would say is, and to all of the folks who are out there, you don't need a title to make change. You can do it right now. And there are hundreds and thousands of people who actually step forward and make change. And you moved us, right? Let's keep it 100 that Ricardo, who's running for office, what did he do? It's January in the year that he's running. He's here. And so the platform that you have created and the fact that you have stepped up for people who didn't have a voice, oftentimes people who, based on their work or their job, couldn't say, I need cannabis to help me with my pain. I need cannabis to help me with my MS. So I want to, again, really give a shout out to Young Jurks, to Disrupt Boston, for making us, because understand, you don't get, quote unquote, politicians to do something. You make us do something. And I want to appreciate you and all of the vision that you've had for now 5 years. I think I was skinnier 5 years ago. Now 5 years to do this work. Huge shout out to your whole team and the folks who have had the thoughtful, really innovative mindset to do this work. And by the way, this studio's doper. So first off, if you had no, if you don't have to bring me in any more
root beer. I got beer now.
Because I got
real beer.
We got double IPAs, and we can and you could actually just
tap it.
We could just tap one of these big things right here. So I feel much more comfortable in here. So don't worry about next time. I'm not feeling
no
bad.
more market basket root beer.
No more double IPA for me. Thank you very much.
You're a very happy customer. We're out of here. We're done. I made it through this show, thank God. It was a good show, especially with Tito. Julie Kramer was great, too. I want to thank Julie Kramer for coming in.
Julie.
Kristen Johnson as well.
Kristen Johnson, thebomb.com.
I feel like we didn't use Kristen enough today. She's amazing.
Yeah, bro, she is one of the most amazing people. And do you know what she does for her job?
I've heard some of it today.
So just on and going out, shout out to Kristen Johnson.
Yeah.
So Kristen Johnson speaks to doctors and scientists.
I believe it.
And she visualizes and illustrates the stuff that they're talking about into graphs. And I'm like, so you mean you take all kinds of really crazy things that are way out there, and you're actually able to visualize it. I actually have no idea what her job title is. I just kind of know what she does. But in addition, she is one of, to me, the best advocates for the future of the city of Boston that exists in our city. And huge props to her.
She's awesome. Thank you, Kristen Johnson. Thank you again, Tito Jackson.
Thank you so much.
Disrupt Boston, Brian Murphy, Michael Doobie behind the board. Coming up next, Calvin Feliciano, Activist Hour.
Doobie's the best last name ever.
He's what? Doobie? You like that last name?
Doobie's the best last
name.
Yeah,
it is a great last name. You know, he's one of these good. I used to work for a guy with the same spelling. It's D-U-B-E. And he was like, it was at Comcast, right? He's like, my name's Doob. Don't call me Doobie. And so I asked Doobie, I said, Doobie, is that really the way you're supposed to pronounce it? He's like, it's actually pronounced different, but I prefer Doobie.
hey, that's coming from a dude named Tito Jackson. Michael Doobie is the dopest last name ever to exist.
We'll leave it on that.
Shout out to Jessica. Michael Doobie is the dopest last name to ever exist.
You heard it here.
That's going to be a drop someplace. I know that's going to be the dope.
Using that
drop.
over the Young Jurks drops. He's like, I got mine.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Tito.
Thanks. Bye.
We'll see you next week.
I'm a simple man, don't want a complication.